Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Behind the Scenes series. And this special episode of this series, we will be covering Crowning Jules. And more in particular, we will be covering the acting portion of the film. So to give you guys kind of a little rundown of what this series is, this is a new series that I'm starting here to kind of get some insights of film from film lovers for film lovers. So we're going to kind of get into the nitty-gritty, if you will, and, give a little insights to some behind the scenes. And no better way to start, of course, than with my good friend here, Lucas Miles.
Hey, what's going on, Christian? It's good to be here.
And of course, we have a couple other familiar faces here. We have Jacqueline and Elizabeth, that you remember from the first podcast. And Edgar's a new face here, but Edgar, great guy.
Look, how you doing, Chris?
So we're going to go ahead and kind of get right into this. So they actually have come out with a film. It is called Crowning Jules, and the film is actually set to debut on November the 7th. So we're going to be kind of covering this film, and like I said, in this iteration of it, we're going to be going over the acting portion of it. And so we're going to go ahead and just talk to Jacqueline and Elizabeth. They are the starring roles in the film, and so we're just going to be going over a couple things with them. And so we're going to go ahead and watch the trailer here right before we get into it.
Let's do it.
This week will define the rest of my life. The week I rocked the Harvard admissions interviewing world. Harvard! But first, I have to survive a couple days with the evil twin.
The new Miss Michigan is Madison Kelly. Madison will represent our state at the Miss Darling pageant in Boston.
No one cares about your stupid shiny tiaras. You're so selfish.
Yeah, yes, I can definitely make it to the main campus. I've been thinking, and I want to go with you to Boston. Yay! I've been waiting so long for this, sis. Road trip!
There's a gas station a few miles back. I just thought we'd make it to the one with the world-famous split-pea soup. Okay? Ooh, look at me. I'm Miss Michigan. Jules, I can't believe you!
I'm out. That's the band. Come on, man.
They could be serial killers. Really cute serial killers.
I'm about to go wicked stepmother on you because the brooch from Saturday night's event is missing.
I'm gonna be in your butt. I'll get it back.
You think a pair of violent hooligans are after your sister because you came into possession of an antique royal jewel which was stolen from a traveling museum exhibit?
My life is becoming more and more like Scooby-Doo.
You were really gonna kill me? I'm adorable.
Despite the 673 reasons why we're different, there's about 1 million reasons why she'll always be my best friend.
Yeah.
All right, so that was the trailer to the film, and I saw you guys kind of laugh there and chuckle on that Derek Brandon when Derek Brandon was in there, so I just had to notice that. Is that to trigger some memories for you guys?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Sure.
It's also fun because we can see, during it, we could see Lucas's and Edgar's face, and we haven't been able to watch them watch it before, so that was fun.
Awesome.
That looks like a good movie.
Yeah, it does. I know. We should. I wonder. We should talk about that movie. I wonder whose movie that is. So guys, you have had a couple starring roles in another film, and actually a cool film on. A cool role on a series for ABC, The Middle, yeah. And you were also in Lucas's last film, The Rodeo Girl. And so, what have you kind of learned from those experiences that have brought you and kind of helped you in this experience?
Yeah, I think sometimes with when production and like all the art and everything comes together, it can be really overwhelming. And I think just having the experience on set with such a like loving cast and crew, it makes you more comfortable, and you just trust yourself and trust that you know what you're doing and you're there for a reason, and just to give it your all. And I think the more you're surrounded by people who are so good at what they do, it makes you feel more comfortable and you can learn from them. And I think that helped a lot, just gaining that comfortableness and I don't know what the word is, but like
knowledge of film lingo.
Mm-hmm.
So we actually filmed the middle after Crowning Jules. So I think we learned a lot from Crowning Jules that we carried over into the middle.
Okay.
So just like the different film lingo, the whole cast and crew on Crowning Jules was so much like a family that everyone was trying to teach each other their roles and learn from other people. So we actually learned a lot of behind the scenes also. So on the middle, we were knowledgeable of different film lingo.
We knew what was going on.
And had practice with learning a bunch of lines. So actually Crowning Jules really helped us with future projects.
Yeah, for sure.
Gotcha. And that was, I didn't even realize that you guys were in Rodeo Girl until I rewatched it a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
And then I was like, oh, okay, now I see.
It's funny on that, Christian, because like I found the script for Crowning Jules during like the evenings of while we were filming Rodeo Girl. So I was sleeping in this trailer on this 180-acre horse ranch, filming this movie with Joel Reisig. And when I met the twins, I start like looking through these scripts, trying to find, kind of the right thing. And I didn't know what it was going to be yet, but when I met them and they were on set, I knew right away, like we need to be positioning them now for the film we're going to do later. And so I kind of had that in mind while we were shooting. So I'm like, but okay, you guys sit right here because we're going to get you in this scene and, with Sorbo and everything else. So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and that's cool too because, you guys got to work with a guy like Kevin Sorbo, and then you go into this movie and then get a whole bunch of other experiences. We'll talk about that in a bit. But this is the first film you guys have actually starred in. And so what was that like? Because, that's completely new for you guys. But like I said, you had some prior experiences that kind of got...
Yeah, it was a huge responsibility. I feel like everyone is doing... everyone's working so hard, and you just want to make sure that you're bringing your all, just like everyone else is. So I think that we really wanted to do the best job that we could do, but we felt like we were in an environment that was only pushing us to be the best we could be.
Yeah.
So we really were set up for success, like with the crew and the cast of the film. So I think that's a huge benefit that helped us.
Yeah, it was an incredible opportunity. Being able to star in our first film together was a ton of fun. Who doesn't want to do a film with their best friend, right?
You meant me, right?
Oh, yeah. We were talking about Edgar, but you're okay.
Yeah.
I think the feelings that you got from the cast and crew were directly proportional to the amount of effort and expertise y'all put into this film. If you'd have showed up and not been able to act, I'm not sure the crew would have been so happy about it.
Right? Thank you.
Really knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And definitely. I think that goes a long way because you hear so many film productions where it was like the main actor wasn't cooperating or giving them a hard time, and it's just like it's a disaster, and then it destroys the whole production. You know what I mean? It's like, the main guy's not doing his part, then, But that's awesome that you guys, in your first try, were able to do, such a good job. And
Thank you.
So, you guys got to work alongside two pretty big actors, Kevin Farley and Christy Swanson. And so, now you first had Kevin Sorbo, and now this. So what's this like for you? Getting to work alongside them.
Yeah. Whenever I think about that or someone asks me that question, the only thing in my head is just wow. Like, wow, how amazing is it that we got to learn from so many incredible actors that have amazing experience, impressive experience. And what was so great about working with them was they were there and doing their best work, but also guiding us, influencing us, teaching us little tips and tricks. It was great.
Yeah, I remember one scene, one of like my favorite scenes when we're in one of the rooms. It's Christy's character, Kenton's character, like the bad guys. And I remember after the scene, Christy was like, "That was brilliant," and I was like, "Started me." I was like, "I'm gonna be fantastic the rest of the film." Like, I feel so confident.
Yeah.
So it's just nice. Like,
that's an ego boost.
Yeah. I was just so impressed with, I mean, we just had just an incredible cast. I mean, all around. And, you know, Christy, Kevin, you know, also Kenton and Derek. I mean, they're just all phenomenal. But, you know, I don't think that, I think it was just that, like, it all created this perfect recipe. And there was just this family experience, you know, an atmosphere. I mean, and, you know, I mean, Kevin, like, I mean, by the end of this shoot, like, he felt like he was related to the girls, you know,
that's
like
so funny.
Their film, and, you know, was just awesome, you know. And so, and Christy is just, you know, Christy's a good friend and was just wonderful to work with, right. And you know, would work with her, you know, a dozen times over.
Well, that's funny because I was about to say too that it was by the end of this movie, I was thinking, Kevin Farley's a real dad. Yeah, I mean, he did that. He's such a dad in that movie that it's like, yeah, he feels like your dad, you know. So he did a really good job.
I had a distributor see the film and wrote me, and he goes, "This is probably one of my favorite roles I've ever seen Kevin in." As a result, just because it was such a different character than what he would play.
Yeah, and that's always cool. It's always cool to see, you know, when they're typecast like that, to kind of be in something a little different. So,
sure.
Did they give you any kind of insights or advice that you took away, you know, for your next big film? Or
yeah, I think something we learned. It was Christy who told us that sometimes when you're involved in such a big production, she said, don't worry about trying to, like, what did she say? She said, focus on doing the best you can do and let everyone else do the best they can do, and everything will come together. It's easy to worry about things that aren't your responsibility because you want it to be good and you want to give it everything. And so you start taking on the emotions of other people and you're like, am I doing this right? Am I doing that right? And she said, just do the best you can do and everything will fall into place. It'll be the way it's supposed to be. And I will never forget when Chrissy told us that, because it was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Like, I can do that.
Wow, that's cool. Yeah, and I think that's probably, you know, helpful for you guys because you guys get to work with somebody who's had so much experience. That's got to be a big, you know, boost. And
willing to share the experience too.
Right.
Yeah.
Christy's really good about stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it was funny because before I knew she was in the movie, I was like, you know, she kind of looks familiar, but I wasn't sure. I couldn't put a finger on it. I was like, oh, that's Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I was like, that makes sense now. So what would you say was your favorite scene and why?
Favorite scene? You have one off the top of your head?
Yeah, the first one that always comes to my head is the scene in the car with Kevin, and he is yelling at the traffic, and I just think like the mixture of Shea Fontana's writing with his acting style is absolutely hilarious. Like, there's no other words besides that. It was so entertaining. I had to remind myself, stay in character. It's not funny. Don't laugh. So I really enjoy being in that scene and now also watching it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say after watching this, it's like I just imagine that's how Kevin Farley is in real life. Like,
yeah.
He's a riot, you know, but he's such a down to earth, like, relatable guy. Cool. You know, we had just some awesome conversations, you know, in between, you know, shooting. And, you know, also, you know, it's like you could feel the whole cast and crew, like holding in a laugh.
Oh my God.
Like, you know, until we said cut, then everybody just explodes, you know?
See, that's the one thing with acting that I can never understand how people don't smile. You must train yourself because I smile. People will be telling me bad news and I'll be smiling. So I literally could not be an actor because it would just be, you know, it'd be horrible. I just can't get the grin off. So what would you say, kind of walk me through your favorite day on set? What was that like?
Oh, okay. I think we might have the same answer for this one. I mean, it's hard to pick a favorite day. But I think one of our favorite memories was there was the day that the highway was shut down for filming some stunt scenes on the road. And the audio guy, Frank, was like laying on the floor in the back seat of the van, and we couldn't have the air conditioning on because it interfered with the sound.
And we were like in a sweater.
Oh yeah, we're wearing like we're not dressed for like the weather that's outside currently. We were dressed for the weather inside the film. So we're all sweating, right? And we know that Frank's in the back seat. So we're like also trying to not laugh at Frank because it's kind of funny that he's on the floor in the back seat. And we're like, and we do the scene, we drive, and then when we finish the scene and go to do it again, we have to drive back to where we started. So we spent so much time in the van that day.
And we're on a trailer, so we're not in control of the car. So we're all like trying to fight for the air, like when we're driving back. It was really cool. I think one of the reasons why it was our favorite day was being able to do a stunt like that.
Yeah.
Having a professional come in and do stunt driving. It was very cool. Very cool.
That's awesome. And it's funny that you say that because it's like, man, sometimes I feel so bad for some of these poor audio guys. They have the hardest job sometimes. I swear.
My God.
There was a buddy of mine who was working on a small project, and he couldn't afford to, hire a full cast, unfortunately, and he cut on the audio side. So he hired one guy to do it all. And so this guy was not only having to move along with them, but this dude's having to backpack all this equipment and be and he has to be there getting audio as well. So it's like, man, I feel that reminds me of that. But
probably be like ripped with muscles after that.
Yeah, these guys gotta be. It's insane. So tell me about a funny blooper you had on set.
We have yet to see any bloopers.
I'm sure there is plenty.
Yeah, I'm sure there is an extensive amount.
Yes.
We are waiting to release those as blackmail.
Sounds good.
Oh yes, that's how that works. There was a lot of funny stuff, and now you guys were telling a story before we started that was pretty funny.
What did we do? Oh, the beef stick story?
Yeah.
Okay, this story, I kind of worked up when I tell this story, so I just need to take a deep breath. Okay, so there's a scene in the film that Jackie, who plays Jules, has to point her beef stick in the direction of the pawn shop. That's part of the scene. And the pawn shop is a big building. It's not like a little direct eye line for the beef stick. You can be creative with where your beef stick is pointing. And Lucas was like, look at your beef stick. Is your beef stick pointing anywhere in the direction of the pawn shop? And Jackie's like, and he's like trying to grab her arm and face it. I'm sitting there like, oh my gosh. And he's like, look at the camera. And she goes, I can't see the camera from here. It's just so, if I'm having a bad day or worked out about something, literally what pops into my mind is, look at your beef stick. And immediately I'm like, okay, everything's fine.
Yeah, that was a rough day for me, but it ended up being a funny story.
Yeah. Hey, well, you got to get some out of it, right?
Yes.
Right, yeah.
But she nailed it. She got it right.
Yep.
Well, I guess you guys are really gonna find out. Yeah, once those blackmail bloopers are released, then you'll know for sure.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. What about the time in the dressing room? This was the first day on set. So everyone's getting to know each other, and we're just starting to gel and mesh, and people are figuring out who each other are and their roles. And we're filming the first or second scene of the day, and I'm in this this dress that's covered in sparkles. I'm trying to find an outfit for the pageant that I'm going to. And Lucas kind of walks over and he's like, after we had blocked the scene and had gotten notes, he comes over and he says this line. And we're like, oh gosh, okay, we must have messed up the line. What did it say? And he pulls out the sides and he goes, it's sparkly. I just want to test out some different ways you can say this. And Jack and I are like,
You gotta be
this
kidding
line
me.
is 2 words. Like, what is this guy trying to say? Like, and then, so he literally stands there, and Jackie and I are trying to be like so respectful, like trying to hear where he comes from so we can take his direction. We're like, okay, like let's hear him out. And he goes, and he starts giving like line readings, and he's looking at us so serious, but he's going, it's sparkly. It's sparkly. It is sparkly. And we're like holding back laughter, like this guy is repeating it's sparkly with different voice inflections. And this went on for like, I kid you not, probably 30 to 60 seconds, this 2-word line. So that was funny.
There's a lot of different ways to say it, but we
know. You gave them all.
When you see that in the film, Christian, you will so appreciate it.
Oh, yeah. Just take note of that line.
I'm gonna have to go back after I do all these and rewatch it now. You know, I'm glad that I watched it.
It's hard. It's like hard to notice.
Hard, like it's little do you know that one line took up quite a bit of time.
Yeah, sometimes the scenes that you think are going to be like the quickest, go the longest, and then the ones that look the most complicated, you get in one take or whatever.
Yeah,
so
that always seems to be the way. You always hear about that where they, it's that one line they just can't get it right. This doesn't sound right. Let's try it again and again and again. Yeah, that's what it was.
Uh-huh.
So let me ask, what similarities do each of you have to your characters, if any?
Okay. So a lot of times we've been asked this question, or like, who are you guys most like? Right. Which twin? And we normally say that we kind of fall somewhere in the middle. I think we definitely have I have my Madison tendencies and Jackie has her Jules tendencies. Mm-hmm. Like Jackie with homework, Jackie has to get 100%. She's got to put her all into it. So I think that's how you're kind of like Jules.
Yeah, I would say.
How am I like Madison?
Did you guys purposely color coordinate with the trailer poster tonight?
I know. I was just thinking.
I may not have.
I was like, what would Madison wear? I was like, I think Madison would wear pink. So I was like, I love pink too. So I have a bunch of pink shirts, and I was like, perfect.
At least this is going to make it easy for people to know now,
Right, yes.
So match pink, and green to green there, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, I know, green. That's so funny. Yeah, I really like how driven Madison is as a person. I think like her commitment to her passion of performing in pageants is really cool. Like how dedicated she is to it. I think personally I would go about it in a different way, maybe a little more, a little less headstrong, I think, but I definitely appreciate her confidence. And I think that's really cool that she knows what she wanted and she was going to go for it.
Do you feel like after having a role like this, you kind of come back out of it almost maybe slowly, maybe a little bit more towards your character? Or do you think you don't get that deep in the mindset that you are affected by it?
Oh, I don't know. That's a good question. I'll have to think about that. From our characters. I don't know. Do you feel like you were more like Jules for a little bit?
I don't know. I think there are situations where I'm kind of like, in my head, I'm like, oh, this reminds me of a scene. Like, how would Jules, what would Jules think about this?
Right.
But, I don't think it affected me, and my personality. But, it's fun to think about my character and Jules, how she, she had her outlook on life and situations.
It's awesome. So, without spoiling anything, this film is kind of about putting a priority on family and growing closer. So, would you guys say this film has brought you guys closer?
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, I don't know. We were really close before, so I don't really know how much closer we could get. Yeah, I don't know.
I know you guys are close because it never fails to amaze me how many times you guys are able to speak in unison just naturally.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Oh, if you want to hear a funny story about that, we recited a full 30 seconds in Starbucks one time.
Yeah, the same thing.
And everyone just stopped
and stared at us. And Jack and I are like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, so we're definitely guilty of that.
We've never been back to that Starbucks.
Oh man. So you guys. I mean, you guys feel like this film. You guys are already so close. You know,
Yeah,
maybe maybe spending so much time with each other pushed you guys apart a little bit, right? Or
Oh no, I was gonna say that we are super close, but usually we have like some breaks
Sure.
from each other. I don't know how to word it. Like some time alone time. But because on set we were always together, I mean, we did spend a lot of time together, but
I think we're also like we're each other's biggest supporters, but we're also each other's biggest critics. So like when she was filming, I was like sitting there staring at the camera, like watching everything she was doing, and I was like writing down like what I needed to tell her, or, like, oh, that was great, or she'll like kind of look at me like the corner of her eye, and I'll be like that was really good, like good job. Or like something like that. And I think we do that in all the stuff that we get to work on together. But it's nice because we're both going to tell each other how it is, and so it's a blessing to be able to have someone that's like supporting you no matter what.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You know, Christian, it was you have some twin movies where it's like not twins, it's just one actor playing both roles. You know, we saw it with like Lindsay
Parent
Lohan.
Trap,
Parent Trap. And so, the cool thing for them, I mean, because I've had people ask me that, like, are they really twins, or is it just one person playing both roles? You know, and the cool thing is they were there to be able to like feed off of each other, and they could encourage each other, you know, when the camera wasn't rolling, and talk through those things. And I mean, you know, we run into this all the time. Is people think that, oh, you know, to be an actor or an actress or model or something that, oh, you know, so you just have to stand there and say your line, or, you know, like how hard is that sort of mindset? And, you know, the time that they put in, the dedication, I mean, they worked with, you know, kind of a walking coach who was a professional. She's actually now Mrs. America, taught them how to walk for the pageant, you know, so that they could, you know, do the, you know, pageant style walk. So they didn't look like they were actors trying to fake it, you know, and, you know, there's just constant like training and working on things. And, you know, there were plenty of days where, you know, we really pushed them to like the edge of emotions and their own relationship and everything else, and like their relationship with us. And, you know, but it was so cool because, you know, we saw, I think, in that everybody's strength, everybody's, you know, loyalty to one another, to the project, and really why they deserve to be on that set. You know, and so that really shined through.
That's awesome. And I think that's kind of one of the interesting things too, is that sometimes I think, you know, people don't truly understand or really know how hard it is to act, because they just think, oh, you know, you just go out there and have to act. But the thing is, like you're saying, like where they had to learn how to do the walk, people only notice it when it's not done right. You know? It's like, that's why people don't think about that stuff, because you see it looks right and you think nothing of it. But people only think about it when it's, okay, that doesn't look right, you know, and then they think about it. But it's interesting. It's really cool. So lastly, what was your reaction when you saw the movie, this being your first film where you guys were starring? It was a reality when you guys got to watch it. So what was that like?
Right. I mean, we had no idea what to expect, really, because we hadn't seen any of it before the premiere. So it's weird because we film, everything films out of order. So we could have filmed like the last scene first, or the middle scene first, or the last scene first. And so in watching it in order, it was kind of confusing for the first time, because you're like we filmed this like the first day, like where's the scene? And it didn't come until like an hour into the film, and you're like, so I think when I watched it for the first time, I was more just like, oh, they used that take, like, oh, that's cool, they used this angle from that scene. So I think that I was more watching like the style and the structure of the film. So I'm excited to watch it again and just hopefully be able to watch it for enjoyment and entertainment, other than like watching how the lighting looks and which clip they cut to.
Right. Well, yeah, that.
Which sparkly they took.
What?
Or which version of It's Sparkly did Lucas took?
Oh,
yeah, that's going to be a mystery.
Yeah. On the edge of our seats.
Yeah, right.
So kind of lastly here, just to wrap up, final question. What will be your takeaways from this experience?
You know, the first thing that pops into my head, I just want to like add on it. It probably won't answer the question very well, but like, I guess for me, like, taking away was just how, like, I stood back at the end and, like, realized how grateful I was.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how wonderful it was to be on a set with an art director who now I considered one of my greatest role models and friends, and I'm not into graphic art, so just like looking up to her now, and Edgar and Lucas, both of them having them as mentors. Lisa Varga, watching her, just her power, like as a woman in film, like just aspiring to be like her. Just how grateful I am to have been surrounded by so many wonderful people.
Yeah, when you're in it and doing it, it's like, okay, like, that's what's on the schedule for today. Like, this is what we're going to do. And then when it's all said and done and you look at the whole picture, it's just overwhelming appreciation for everyone who worked, every person who worked on the film, no matter where their job was, when they did their job, just the love and hard work they put into the film. I think we just will forever be appreciated.
Yeah, so I guess what we could say is, or at least I could say that I took away, was just all the skills that I learned for behind the scenes and in front of the screen. Just all the different knowledge that I soaked up during the time.
And I'm sure that the next time that you guys get to be in your next starring film, which I know will come, you will now feel a lot more comfortable because you would have experienced, the whole process at least once. And even though it won't be the same process, at least you've done it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've definitely gained confidence in ourselves and our abilities. And you always have to remind yourself, like, yes, I'm here for a reason. I can handle this. Like, I'm here to do my job. And I think Crowning Jules definitely gave us a great foundation to believe in ourselves and do the best we can.
Right. Well, that's awesome.
I was just going to say, the film's actually already released in Asia, so it's getting ready to release here in the U.S. But it released in China and Singapore, and we've already been getting people writing us just talking about how much they love the twins and getting messages to the Crowning Jules Facebook page and those things about what they've seen, and so it's just I am really excited for the U.S. audience to. I think everybody loves twins, and there's just that connection and that fun that goes there. And so I think that they really did a great job of capturing these two characters on film, and, can't wait to see kind of the reaction from the US here as that releases.
That's awesome. And to kind of follow up with that, where can people find this movie when it comes out?
So it's going to be, it'll be kind of all the major platforms they can look for it at. We're not able to fully say that yet just because of the relationship with SP Releasing and Sony. But Walmart for sure, it's already available for pre-order there on Walmart, so we can talk about that one. But you can get it at major retailers and major video on demand platforms, and you might even see it in a couple theatrical markets. So
awesome.
For that.
That'd be cool. And lastly, where can they find you girls?
Oh, yes. Okay, so they can find me on Instagram. I think my handle or whatever is at Elizabeth_Labadie. So just my name, easy to find.
You can find me there also.
They'll be able to keep up with you guys when you say, okay, here's my next new movie, right? That's where they're going to be able to find out. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We'll post the things coming up when we can talk about them. So
awesome. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate you all joining me today for the interview, and this was
thank you for having us. It's always so fun getting to talk to you.
My pleasure. All right, guys. That was the acting interview for Crowning Jules, and we'll see you next time on the producing side of it.